Aloha all, and welcome back to Let's Play Kirby Air Ride. I'm Paper Mario Guy, and in this episode, we are going to be doing more of City Trial. In the last episode, I basically showed off what City Trial was all about, how it plays and everything. Now I'm going to show off some of the things that are inside of City Trial. Now, because I'm a lazy person, and I don't really feel like doing all sorts of recording to get all the stadium events, all the city events right now, I'm going to save that for a later date, and for now we're going to just tackle, everything in the actual stadium itself. Now, I know I'm not going to be able to get all of the things in this episode, so it's going to be a multiple episode thing. Obviously I'm missing something like Single Race 8, and there's a few, I think there's a few, maybe one or two other games that are stadium events that I'm missing, but they will be all showed off, rest assured, and hopefully maybe we can unlock some things upon the way. So anyway, we're going to start up right away with Drag Race number 1. And Drag Race number 1 is a pretty fun course in my opinion. Me and Shadow Mario Guy had some good times on this, trying to just set records, and it was funny because I picked this game up a little bit, not too long ago, just trying to, play it by myself to see what I could do on my own without any drafts or anything, no drifting, none of that jazz, and I was actually able to set a new record for the course, even faster than me and Shadow Mario Guy's record was. And you'll see what my all-time record is right after this, but that was Drag Race 1. And 19 seconds is not very good compared to, 14 seconds and 18 milliseconds. And as you can see, 7, 10. I mean, very fast indeed. But anywho, we're going to continue on, and considering, all these drag races are pretty much the same thing, straightforward, go down, and I'm going to be using the Formula Star on every single one. There's not really much for me to talk about in that, and so I have something, somewhat kind of planned, somewhat kind of not. For what it's worth. Basically, right now I'm looking at my clock, and it is 4:50 in the morning, and if you're wondering why I'm up at 4:50 in the morning, it's because I have a very hard time falling asleep. It's also because I, do wake up rather late compared to maybe some other people, as, many of my friends can attest to. I stay up much later than everybody else, and again, mainly because I have problems sleeping and everything, but also just because I don't know, I'm a night person. I definitely like the night more. But the thing that always seems to happen to me at night, and I think it's mainly because I'm watching YouTube videos and just reading various different things, because, there's not much I can, do at night besides stuff like that. By the way, hit these switches, and platforms will rise and fall, if you didn't already know that. But, yeah, it just seems as though throughout the night, I just, I always get so ambitious, and I can't do anything about it, which is, disappointing. And one of the things that I always get ambitious about is just, not my future in general, but just kind of things that I would like to accomplish, things like, see, the town I live in is a very, 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 very boring town. Like, majority of the people who live in my town are actually, somewhat wealthy, and everything's a nice, clean neighborhood. But everything's so outrageously boring. It's actually, at times, a little depressing. I don't really get depressed myself, but I could definitely see why someone living in my town might get a little depressed. It just... it's just, you look around, and, I mean, especially if you're someone like me who's always on YouTube, you see these people who, either live in a bigger city, or they live in, I don't know, anywhere that's just a little bit more exciting than where I live, and it makes you want to get up and go. And I've always felt like that, and I felt like that for the last, really, for the last 2 years. I think right around, about 2 years ago, I couldn't stand where I was living, and I still really don't like where I live. I mean, the people here are, fine, don't get me wrong. It's not like the people here are bad, and it's not like, I don't live in a nice, clean environment. It's not like I live in the ghetto or anything, but it's just, I live in northern Jersey, and especially with my recent trip, I went up to New York recently, not too long ago, but it makes me so, not upset, but I just wish I, was somewhere else. Like, I wish, I didn't live in North Jersey. I wish I lived in New York City or something like that. And my goal place to live is, like many people, I mean, some people obviously aren't like this. They rather, stay in a neighborhood like this, kind of boring but nice and clean, and not much is going on, but there's enough to keep the normal person occupied. But like me personally, I would love to live sometime in my life down out in California, either pretty much just South California, like San Diego, Los Angeles, Hollywood, all that stuff. Not to say that I want to be like a big movie star or anything, but the thing about a place out there is, not only is there just so much to do normally, granted it all costs a lot of money and it's expensive to live out there, I completely understand that, but the thing about it is, living out in a place like that is just, it's always moving, it's always active, there's always something to do, on top of the fact that there's so much opportunity out there for, pretty much anybody who wants to go out. I mean, you're not going to, I mean, I'm not trying to put down people who live in, like, small cities or, like, Midwestern or, like, in farm country and everything. Because, to be honest, I, for a while there, did live in pretty much farm country. But it just, by the way, just real quick, interrupting myself, high jump, you want to use the wheelie bike. Unless you have the Dragoon, use the wheelie bike, because it jumps so much higher than, everywhere else. Let me actually see if it says something about that. It jumps very high, yeah, see, it even tells you. Alright, Kirby Melee 1. See, I'm missing a Kirby Melee 2. But, yeah, like I said, my thing is just being so close to a place like New York. It just, I see the opportunity around, I see all the things that, are available that, I could possibly wind up doing with my life, but it's just like, while I sit here in my house at 4:30 in the morning, there's nothing I can do about it except for get ambitious, and it's just carrying that ambitiousness into, my next day. That's the part that really gets me. And even then, you can get as ambitious as you want, but if you don't have an idea of what you want to do, I mean, waking up the next morning is just, not to say pointless, because, every day has some sort of meaning, but it's just like, all that ambition kind of went to waste unless you can remember it. And a lot of the times I do kind of remember it, but not as, hardcore. I don't have the, the sudden urge to go out and do what I wanted to do last night. And in this case, it's like 4:50 in the morning, almost 5 o'clock. So it's like, I know the next day I won't be as ambitious. I'll get distracted. I'll realize, hey, I'm here right now. There's nothing I can do about it. But it just, it always seems to happen to me. And, I'm just waiting for the one day. I'm not going to do Destruction Derby right now. But it's just like, I'm waiting for the one day where, I am sitting in my room, minding my own business, doing my thing, and the ambition strikes me, and then I can actually do something with it, because pretty much Let's Playing is one of the only things that I can do at 5 o'clock in the morning, to believe it or not. I mean, I'm sure a majority of you have, at one point or another, been awake at 5:30 in the morning, and most of you know, especially if you live with people, there's not much you can do, and, But enough of that. I mean, majority of these things you already seen. The air glider, self-explanatory. Kirby Melee, self-explanatory. The Destruction Derby is taking out your opponent. Target Flight, it's a game of darts pretty much. And, you know, there's not really much to say, to be, you know, quite frank. But tomorrow, I'm probably going to continue my little spiel on things, if I can remember, of course. And tomorrow we will do, you know, the single races all the way up to 9, King DDD, the 2 Destruction Derbies, and I should have Kirby Melee 2 unlocked. Until next time, though, I'm Paper Mario Guy of the KoopaNinjaBros. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.